So here Krishna has explained the process of meditation, what are the prerequisites for meditation, and all this is because whichever path we take, no, in spiritual practice, we have said each path depends on the person's individual tendencies, isn't it? If he is more of devotion, then bhakti marga, bhakti yoga. If he is a person of inquiry, or if he wants to follow the he has inquisitiveness, he wants to explore, he doesn't believe, he is not meant for rituals or bhakti, but he will come to bhakti in the end, but he is in the path of quest, then jnana margi. Most of us are doing our activities, so we follow karma marga. In whichever path we take, karma marga means doing actions, because we are doing day in and day out so many actions. Whatever path we undertake, the basic theme is we should have a yogic perspective, and that is going to highlight and end this chapter today. Different people have different kind of work based on their likes, based on their aptitude. Some of them are authors, some of them are scientists, some of them are doctors, some of them are into literature, some are artists. So depending on that, they choose their profession or area of work. Irrespective of that, this yoga today, what he is addressing is have this attitude of a yoga. Perspective should be different. I am not worried, I am not bothered. Do whatever you like, whatever interests you, but you should follow the spirit of yoga, and that he has gone and described throughout this chapter. And again we will revise that, and then we will go ahead with what are these last 7 shlokas. What is the fate of a yogi? The gist of this session today is what is the fate of a yogi. Shri Bhagavanuvacha. This continues with the previous questions by Arjuna. Arjuna is asking that what happens, Krishna? You are saying we must follow this yoga, particularly of Samadarshana. Throughout in the last few shlokas, he has talked about looking at everybody with in equal perspective, equanimity. There is no difference among the people, and there shouldn't be any difference. We should not have any kind of preferences for people, because he says I am there in each and every living body. So therefore you must have this samadarshana. So Arjuna says it is very, very difficult. How do we achieve that? Then Krishna answers, yes, I understand that chanchalam hi manaha Krishna. Mind is very restless, turbulent. But with constant practice, abhyasena vairagyena, with dispassion towards other things, with things that should not matter to us, and also with constant practice, regular practice, consistent practice, you will be able to achieve that. Then after that, Arjuna asks him, Krishna, what happens to those people who initially show so much interest? They start practicing spirituality. Over a period of time, they get diverted, and or they may not be able to pursue, or they may die. So what happens to them? You have to tell this, because this is going to be a major problem, major question for many people. Therefore, he says, we must, this doubt, O Krishna, you must dispel completely, asheshataha, because no one other than you can solve this, can clear this doubt. So Krishna now starts. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Partha Naiveha Namutra Vinasha Tasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyana Krit Kaschit Durgatim Tata Gacchati. So Krishna says there is no destruction. Partha is Arjuna. Naiveha Namutra Vinashaha. There is no destruction of such a person, no destruction at all, neither here nor hereafter. You know what is hereafter? That is the abode where each of one of us are going to go. It could be any of those lokas, we'll see that. Further, there is no degradation for anyone. Kaschit durgatim. There is no degradation or bad state of life who does something that is auspicious. If at all you do any kalyana krit, kalyana means something which is good, something which is auspicious. If you have indulged, the meaning of this shloka is, if you have indulged in doing some good activities and you have taken the path of spirituality, then do not get disturbed, Arjuna. It will accumulate. There is there's no destruction for such person. Just because he stopped doing yogic practices doesn't mean that he will go back to his previous state. No, it accumulates. Whatever punya he has done, whatever auspicious deeds he has done, good deeds or remembering God, any of this, through any work, Krishna has described n number of ways to reach him. So whatever he has done, so it will stay with him. It is not going to get destroyed, and he will not have degradation of his life. There is no bad state of life. Bad state means patala loka or papa loka, nothing like that. Prapya punyakritan lokan ushitva shashvati samaha shuchinam shrimatam gehe yoga brashto bhijayate. Answering to his question, yoga brashta means the person who could not complete the yogic path. Arjuna probably is asking that once we enter in this yogic path, by the time something happens to me midway and I die, then what happens? Am I called as a person who has broken the path of yoga? Or if I'm not able to pursue, maybe I fall sick, I will not be able to do japa, tapa or anything. Is he called as a person who has deviated from yoga? So he uses this word, Krishna, yoga brashta. So Krishna says, having attained the worlds of the doers of punya. Somebody's, this thing is unmuted. Please mute yourselves, all of you. Having attained the worlds of the doers of punya, punya kritam, lokan. That means after we die, we are going to go somewhere until we take birth in the next. We take birth as another human being. Where do we go? Having attained the world, we attain the world of a subtle world of people who have done good work. Similar people, not in this body, they are present as a subtle body. Sukshma Sharira it is called. So having attained the worlds of the doers of punya, dwelling there for long years, many years, here Krishna says, this body lives there. This body means, as I said, it is not this gross body. It is the Sukshma Sharira. We'll discuss about that. So having attained the worlds of doers of punya. There are punya, people who have done punya. They are all living there after their death. We also reached there for several years. The person fallen from yoga takes birth in the house of pure and prosperous. I will explain to you what is the meaning. So he says, having attained after death, you go to that world where it has similar people who have done punya, and you live there for long years, several years. After that you again take birth. But where will you take birth? Having done this much of yoga, you have the privilege of taking birth in the families which is made of pure people and prosperous people. He says, Shuchinam Srimatam. Shuchi means clean, pure. Pure means not external cleanliness. This refers to people who are pure in their mind, in their actions. He who take birth there. So, yoga prashto abhijayate. Abhijayate means he takes birth there. So, there is no loss for a person who has attained, who has achieved even little bit of yoga. Even a little bit if you do, it has got tremendous impact, and this is how the law of karma has been framed by Lord Krishna. Even little you do, you still get. Nothing will go as a waste. Nothing will go as a waste. Actually, law of karma says, you do good, you will get good, isn't it? That's how we keep doing good deeds, and that's how we get punya. But after that, we start thinking of doing yogic practices. Yogic means our attitude. We need not actually go, as I said, and become a saint, ascetic, not saint, ascetic. but we will develop that yogic perspective towards life. Then we start calling ourselves as beginners of yoga. We are yogis in a very, very initial stages. So maybe just like we have nursery and lower grades and upper grades and masters and PhDs, like that there are different grades. So maybe we have just entered the school of yoga. Even then, you have chosen this path. That itself is enough for you to go into one particular state. And then what happens next birth, he keeps on explaining. So he says, because you have done punya, next birth you will not be born in any ordinary person's family. You will be born in people who are pure, who are kind-hearted, who are of matured, and I should say cultured. You can call them cultured people, civilized people, not the murderers or thugs or people with low taste or ignorant, too much of greed and dishonesty, corruption, not in those families, whereas you will be born in families which are pure and Srimatam. Srimatam means Srimantike, means prosperous people. They are rich. What is the advantage of these two? If they are pure, then what happens is, see, everything you need when the child grows in that family, when the child takes birth, it is nurtured by the parents and all the relatives, and their impression also matters. Krishna doesn't rule out the influence of genes and environmental factors. Everything matters, but the arrangement is in such a way that this sukshma sharira, which leaves the previous body, which has done some punya and it aspires to do something more, but somewhere it has stopped. So the pull is towards such families. The pull of that sukshma sharira, actually that is called as a lower soul, that goes into that family where it can find, it is allowed to grow. It is allowed to grow. So if the people who are taking care, the mother, father, particularly the parents, grandparents, whoever, if they are all kind-hearted, pure, then they will give good nourishment in terms of its mental growth. And so also, if they are well off, prosperous, then this baby, when it grows, it need not struggle to make money. Already it is comfortable, so that this human being can give or devote its time, his or her time, in yogic practices. It can actually think, this prosperity is important. It need not be prosperous, but Swami Vivekananda used to say, spirituality is not for the hungry. Very nice statement it is. Spirituality is not for the hungry. He used to say, first feed the poor, let their stomach be full, then only they can think of spirituality. If one is struggling 2 square meals and you preach spirituality, teach them Bhagavadgita, they will never accept. They will never accept. Of course, today the whole world is very competitive. What is stomach full is very relative term. Is 2 square meals stomach full? Are we happy with that? Are we contented with that? No. I want a good house. I want a good car. I want a flat in a very posh area. I want a flat with amenities. Until then, don't talk to me about all this. These are minimum. You ask today's younger generation, I am not criticizing them. I underline this. This has become the basic requirement of any qualified person. Everybody is aspiring to have a good house, good car, good house should be in good locality, and of course tours here and there. And after that, once you have all this, then let me think of reading Bhagavad Gita or Swami Vivekananda and all that. Way back, Swami Vivekananda, when he started preaching, that time India was a very, very poor country. Poverty was at its heights. So he used to tell, first you remove this poverty and give them 2 square meals. That is why he used to start orphanages. He used to talk about charity, talk about education. So these things, if we fulfill, then the spiritual things comes. Now you see, if a person in his if I and you probably, we have done some yogic practices because of which we are in a comfortable zone, or our mind is not getting diverted so much towards acquisition of property, accumulation of wealth. No, we are in the path of this. That's why our mind is getting attracted to listen to Bhagavad Gita or to talk about Bhagavad Gita. And therefore, because there is comfort, we need not, we are not struggling to get 2 square meals. So therefore, he says, if you have done some yogic practices, you will be born in a place, or you will have atmosphere somewhere which will help you to grow spiritually. So there is no vinashaha tasya vinnamutra vinashaha tasya vidyate. There is absolutely no cause to worry, Arjuna. What best possible in this birth, you have been given a rare human birth. Keep practicing, keep doing it. Do not think about what's it is a journey. It's a journey, and you will continue this journey. You have stopped there, it's fine. You will continue this journey again. If you remember, so in Hindi there is one statement. They say, "Subah ka bhula, शाम को लौट आए तो उसे भूला नहीं कहते." भूला means one who forgets. He just forgets. He leaves the house and goes somewhere. Evening again he finds his house and comes back. So bhula means of what they say, maruguli kannadadalli. He always forgets. So he is not. He is coming back to his home. So as long as you continue your journey, and next the arrangement by Sri Krishna, the law of karma is such, it applies to spiritual practices also. It just continues in your next birth, so you need not worry about that. So how does it continue? Because once we die, you know very well that this body, this whole body, the gross body, what you are seeing, what we are seeing each other, this is only a gross body. This is following the instructions of a subtle body and a causal body, which is inside us. All of us have, as I told you we have discussed number of times, there is Jivatman, that is God's fraction, which is Atman in the form of Jivatman in the body. We are unable to realize or feel it because of the mantle which is created by our accumulated samskars. So many thoughts, so many impressions, a lot of attachment, a lot of discontentment, all that has accumulated in the what is called a subtle body. So this subtle body is nothing but unconscious and subconscious mind. So whatever actions we take, whatever we think, whatever judgment we do, all that goes as an impression, and based on that the impulses or the mind takes decision, buddhi takes a decision and pushes the mind, and mind tells the body, and we act. We act based on whatever is collected impressions in our subconscious mind, which is nothing but the Sukshma Sharira, or you can say it's a component of Sukshma Sharira, which carries from this body to the next body. When we die, that doesn't die. It stays, it continues. So only this gross body dies. That Sukshma Sharira with Karya Karana Sharira, or subtle body with causal body, which is still subtler. So these two actually leave this body, and then that goes into those worlds. It wanders here and there. It stays there for time, and the creation or the energies are created in such a way that they get attracted to those families where it will find its own fulfillment. We choose means it is programmed. We are not choosing at every after death, again I choose, again I come back, again I choose. No, I am not going to make a conscious judgment. It is already planned, programmed, it is all automated. So based on our whatever punya we have gained, it gets carried into that subtle body, which will be channelized towards that, in that era, and towards that those parents where we get properly nourished, and we don't have to struggle for our survival. We don't have to struggle for our basic survival because we have done that much of homework. So I feel very happy to say that this actually has happened in you and I, and that is the reason we have taken birth, or we are in the presence of atmosphere which is nourishing us and nurturing us to grow. I mean, it's making us choose such sessions, choose such speeches, choose such bhajans, whatever. It is guiding us in that direction. That means there is some homework which has already been done. So that is how this is the whole mm, you know, summary of human evolution. Sole summary of human evolution is this. Then what happens? Then he says, अथवा योगिनामेव कुले भवति धीमताम् एतद्भिदुर्लभतरम् एतद्धि दुर्लभतरं लोके जन्म यदीदृशम्. So he says, you may be born in the family of pure and prosperous, or athava yoginam eva kule, or else one may be born into a family of wise yogis. And yogis only, you may just take a birth in the yogis family because you have practiced yoga. It depends on how much you are evolved, and such a birth is very rare to obtain in this world. So you see different families, no? If you see around you, some families are very much evolved. My friend, one of my friend was saying, in our house we don't talk loudly. The only sound or noise is the plates and cutlery and all that. We talk very softly. Few people are like that, very soft, very understanding. I watch so many movies on Netflix. Today I was watching an Indonesian movie. The way they talk so maturely, and one dialogue actually said that never he spoke to me rudely. So if you observe yourself, how much we are adherent to this, talk softly, talk very with a kind, whatever you want to say. You want to correct students, you want to correct patients, you want to correct your spouse. Can we not do it in a very soft way? I'm practicing. I'm not a person who is always doing this, but this is what it is. Yogis means they practice all this already. Yogis are family, but they have very high culture, highly civilized, very compassionate. There are such families. There are people, and great people are born in such families. So there are some families which are very moderate. Then there are some families which are very always you hear shouting, screaming, and there is no people don't talk to each other. They just can't stand each other. So you get different kinds of families. If you have done so much of punya, so much of yoga, punya and yoga, punya is doing good, yoga is something different. We have discussed. Doing good work alone does not you don't become a yogi by doing just punya. You must have that attitude. So if you have practiced that, then you may be born in the family of yogis itself. Why it happens? Now talking about science, because Krishna knows when this person takes birth in such a family, the genes are there, they are in that vibrative mode, the cells are in that vibrative mode. He gets that, and he also gets a good environment. He gets very good environment. So if you see the birth of Swami Vivekananda, Bhuvaneshwari Devi, she was a very pious woman, very pious woman. Father also, they were very evolved family. He goes into, of course at that time there was poverty, he goes into that, that's a different story. In his case it's an exception, because it pushes him to solve the problem of poverty of the in the country and of course in the world. But otherwise he is born to very pious, they are almost like yogis. Similarly Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, so they are all born to parents who were highly devoted. In fact, they say Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is not born through natural process. An Atman, they see a light entering into her womb, his mother's womb, and that's how he is born. So this is how they take birth. He is born as yogi because the parents are yogis. So you may be born in pure families, prosperous families, or yogis families. So you will never see the downfall of anybody who has started following the path of yoga. Tatra tam buddhi sanyogam labhate paurvadehikam yatate chatato bhuyah samsiddhau kuru nandana. So there he takes birth, the person who has done this yoga. There one is united with the intelligence acquired in the previous Paurvadehikam. So that intelligence, look at these words, the intelligence, Buddhi Sanyogam Labhate Paurvadehikam. He takes birth in that family. Initially, he is an ordinary person. As he grows, he starts becoming drawn towards such yogic things, principles, and already some things are happening in the family, but he starts evolving more and more, whether in the yogic family or in the pious family, prosperous family, pure family, any of these, once he goes there, he starts getting those thoughts which he had acquired in the previous birth, Paurva Dehikam. He becomes united with the thoughts and aspirations that he had in the previous life. And then he's yatate cha tato bhuyah. He starts striving more than before. He starts working in that direction. Where he had left, he takes it beyond that. He starts working on that further. He starts evolving more. There's already a basic knowledge. He starts adding on to that, and he strives for perfection. Samsiddhau. He starts striving towards perfection. That means the whatever the knowledge is gained in your previous birth, it will never go waste. It will always be carried forward. It will never go waste. This is the beauty of the preachings of Bhagavad Gita. Life is a journey. So we must understand that the mind, buddhi, chitta, ahankara, everything gets carried. And there are so many validations for that. In the same family, there are 3 or 4 children. Each one has got different taste. They are all nourished by the same parents, similar genes and similar environmental factors. But some are extra matured, some are not so matured. Even in Shardamani, wife of Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa, she is called Jagannmata. Extraordinary patience, extremely, she is tolerance personified, wisdom personified, no talks, totally illiterate, and she has not gone to the school, but what a maturity she had. But her brothers were not so. If you read her history, her life story, you will come to know all her siblings were not the same. She was highest. They were good, but not as much as she was. In fact, nowhere near her. If you read her life history, you will come to know. So this all comes from previous birth. Today modern science may negate this. They may say you cannot say everything is previous karma and then keep quiet, not putting an effort. We do agree. It definitely it is so. We should not say I have not done my karma in the past, so I don't have any future. You cannot say that and keep quiet. Nor you can depend so much on that and not believe on genes and epigenetics. Epigenetics means environmental factors. Both are true. Genes and epigenetics do matter, but this samskars from the previous birth, it overrides. They come like a force. In the next shloka, he tells that there are some children who sing classical music when they are 4 years old, 5 years old. We have seen those, isn't it? They are called child prodigies, singing, solving complex mathematics. Very rare skills they have at a very young age. Somebody keeps doing so many Shakuntala Devi and so many calculations. So these are all accumulated. So it's not only the yoga. Actually, whatever is related, skill is related to the mind, mind and your buddhi, intelligence. All this, no, all these skills get carried forward. All these skills, intelligence also, it gets carried forward. Whatever you have attained, it carries forward. So therefore, he says that in reincarnation, when you take rebirth, when you take rebirth, nothing will go waste. Then he says, Purvabhyasena te naiva hriyate yavashopi saha jitnyasurapi yogas yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. Purvabhyasena tenaya. So by that previous practice alone, one is strongly attracted, helplessly. It is some force, as it were, which is pulling this mind towards spiritual practice or towards yoga or towards God. Such a person becomes an investigator of or experimenter of yoga and transcends the ritualistic principles of scriptures. I'll explain what it is. So this person, no, he has got something accumulated. Let us say I and you, we are not aware of that. But something is pulling us towards Bhagavad Gita. Something is pulling us towards some YouTube lectures of Sarva Swami, Sarva Priyananda. We are helpless. That means we are so much attracted to that. And we are so much attracted. We really want to know what is in it. What is in it? What is there for me? How can I improvise myself? Why am I feeling so delighted when I hear this? Why am I so delighted on listening to these lectures? So this becomes a compulsive force, and this force is coming from Purvabhyasena, whatever we have done in the past. That is what Krishna is saying. And such a person becomes Jidnyasu. Jidnyasu means inquirer. Jidnyasu means a quest for knowledge. He wants to know. He may be born in the family of yogis or somebody who's pious, who practice ritualistic practices, Sandhya Vandana or something like that, chanting. All that is true, but in due course, he will not be bound by those. Shabda Brahma means Shabda of Brahma. Shabda means the sound of Brahma. Sound of Brahma means Vedas. Vedas means rituals. The scriptures which prescribe the rituals for any person, for the human race. So such a person, he knows that, he will be doing that. But over a period of time, he says, this is not enough for me. I should go beyond this. For example, Sandhya Vandana, which is practiced by after, it is taught to the young boys after they undergo Upanayana ceremony. It is taught Sandhya Vandana, Gayatri Mantra. So these boys are told this Gayatri Mantra by a guru. And after that Upanayana, no, we call it as a ceremony. After that, he should practice it every day so that his buddhi becomes sharp, intellect becomes sharp in the process of, sadhana actually. That's how it is. But what happens is in this process, more stress is given on the rituals and practices. Gayatri goes away. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says that the opposite should happen. Whether you practice those Sandhya rituals, taking the, water in your mouth and then chanting those mantra, Keshavaya Swaha, Narayana Swaha, Govindaya Namaha, like that, all those mantras are there. Whether you do that or not, but go towards Gayatri. Sandhya without Gayatri not acceptable. Sandhya with Gayatri is acceptable. Sandhya without those practices, only Gayatri is acceptable. Gayatri mantra, Om Bhurvasva Tasya Vidurvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. So it says I have to get that much of intellect which matches with the Parabrahma. So that seeking, that should be triggered. And such yogis who have done homework in the past, it gets triggered and he starts inquiring. He starts seeking the truth. He starts searching. He starts experimenting. Let me explore. So spiritual practice means since he has already been exposed to the basic practices, now he takes up that, it goes still higher. This is again a validation of what Krishna has told us. If you have done nursery, you will go to the first standard, second standard, higher grades. If you are in 10th standard in the previous birth, obviously you will come for +2, graduation, post-graduation. It all depends on your effort, again, to what stage you will reach in this life. If you have done nursery, you come to first standard, second standard, and then you may die, then continue later. It depends on individual's efforts, his pace, and you should not worry. That also he says, you should not worry. Everybody has got their own speed. As long as you are progressing, as long as you are not stagnating, not to worry. But the whole necessity is you have to keep progressing, and you will progress, because the beauty of this yogic practice is such that it will give you a momentum. And we have seen in previous sessions also how Krishna says that his grace, Krishna's grace will come. When we take one step, he also comes forward. So we must keep going. So purvabhyasena tenaiva. He is trying to clarify Arjuna's questions, which asked him what will happen if a yogic practitioner suddenly stops, suddenly dies, is unable to do. So he says, no worries, you will be born in better families which will encourage you, which will support you, and your own efforts will drive you towards getting higher and higher things. So Jidnyasu, he will search and he will go ahead getting more and more from that particular birth. प्रयत्नात्यतमानस्तु योगी संशुद्धकिल्बिषः अनेकजन्म संसिद्धः ततो याति param gatim. So here he says, now as I said, prayatnat yatamanastu, with great effort, when the yogi struggles in this direction, understood? With great effort, prayatnat yatamanastu, with great endeavor, he will start struggling. He is cleared of all impurities. Samshuddha kilbishaha. That means impurities means you can call it as mistakes, attachments, karma, or sins, desires, ignorance, evil, whatever evil tendencies he had. Everything starts slowly getting dissolved. He puts lot of efforts in this direction, so his impurities get cleared. Then gradually gaining perfection through many births, aneka janma samsiddha. See, he says many births. It's not only one. It may be one for a person who has advanced so much, or it may be several births. Tato yati paramgatim. After several births, through many, he reaches the supreme state. So lot of hope is given. This yogi, he understands that this life is not for me. I will have to go beyond this. And something in his mind keeps working. Others will feel that this boy or this girl is something different. Her actions are different, and she avoids, she sits in one place, she is contemplating, she is happy with herself, she is not she or he. They are not worried about anything, they try to find solutions. These are all the characteristics of a yogi who is advanced. But this yogi is not contented with that. He keeps striving, he keeps meditating for long hours, he keeps going in search of satsang always. And with all that struggle, he progresses and he dies, takes another birth, again he continues, again he takes another birth. Like that, he goes on progressing until in one last birth, he achieves perfection. Something like Lord Adi Shankaracharya, Sri Adi Shankaracharya. How, in a very young age, why did he think of renouncing? He was a true sannyasi who had done all these experiments, practices. Then that was his last birth, and he gains moksha. So, why they say is with every prayatna and great effort and struggle. So this struggle is extremely important. Effort and struggle. Struggle means strive hard. Keep on going till we reach. Just like arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. Swami Vivekananda's quote. So we must keep on struggling, because whenever you struggle, what happens is we attain newer skills. When our goal is very clear, I want to achieve, even if you take our day-to-day practices, I want to achieve this. I have some goal in my life. I have to achieve this. When I want that, then what we do, like in the previous sloka I said, Abhyasa Vairagya. We start developing dispassion towards petty things. That itself is a development, because we are moving towards this goal. This goal, what we are talking about, is the path of liberation. So if we choose that path, you imagine, as we grow, we don't worry about petty things. We ignore few things. We don't want to get into unnecessary, though we act. Last time Kavita brought out this very wonderful point, that we need to act. We act, but we don't get disturbed. That is a skill we are developing. We develop karma phala tyaga, because that is what Krishna has told. Our struggle and our efforts are nothing but developing detachment. That is our effort. Developing detachment, not getting angry. sacrificing our desires. Why should I get distracted? Let me not. Let me instead spend some time in better work than gossip. Simple things like that. So when you go towards the goal, when you strive very hard, when we struggle, so many skills keep appearing. But Krishna also says that it should be very, very slow. You remember, he says, Shanaihi, Shanaihi Uparamet. Slowly, slowly you should go. One step at a time. Do not hurry. But that step will never regress. It always pulls you. That is the beauty. It pulls you. Something else conspires. We have read, no? When you have strong desire, the universe conspires. So it's nothing but this energy. The divine energy will take you forward, and it is automated. So take one step at a time until samshuddha kilvishaha. So when you have lot of impurities, and until we get cleared of those accumulated impurities and karma, we will not progress. If you remember, in Bhagavad Purana we have discussed Narada Muni. He was born to a dasi. He was born to a dasi who was not dasi, maid servant. She used to take care of cleaning the premises. There was a temple, and rishis used to come to that place in Chaturmasa. Chaturmasa is 4 months in a year, when the rishis and all the weather is not conducive for moving around. So they stay in one place, and villagers or people living around that temple will come and listen to their talks. They chant mantras, they teach people. All those things will be happening. So Narada is a small 5-year-old boy who is born to that maid, and who doesn't have a father. So he keeps listening to them. He does the job of keeping the vessels there, taking them, clearing their plates and all that he will be doing. But he gets so much attracted towards their teachings, and as when he is just 5 to 6 year old, he keeps asking them. He goes and asks the senior saints about, teach me about what is life, what is Atman. So like that he gets a lot of knowledge. And when he is that young itself, his mother dies, and Narada starts traveling all over the country. And because he has that knowledge of God, and he has lot of bhakti in himself, so he sits in a place somewhere, and he starts meditating. He meditates so much, so deeply. I think on the way he meets a saint who gives him a mantra. He starts chanting that mantra, and then when he meditates and he chants so much that actually he sees God in his mind. He gets the darshan. He gets the darshan of God, and he gets so excited, so emotional, very, very happy. And it comes for just a fraction of a second. He completely sees him, and he experiences, and then it disappears. Then he starts crying. He says, "Oh Lord, when can I see you permanently? When can I reach you? When can I become complete in Brahmi Sthiti?" He keeps asking him. So for that, again Vishnu comes and tells him that this is not, your time is not ripe. You still have lot of impurities. You still have lot of purva samskaras. That has to go. Continue your meditation. Continue your spiritual practice. That is how it seems he continues that practice. This is told in Bhagavad Purana. He himself has told to Vyasa, sage Vedavyasa. So then he does all that penance, and then in the next birth, he goes into the next kalpa. Kalpa means this cycle of all the 4 yugas. He is born as Brahma's Manas Putra. So much of penance he would have done that in the next birth, he takes birth. That means Brahma creates him as Manas Putra. This is a story of Narada. So even though you have meditated throughout your life, last class we discussed, it's not easy to get rid of all our negative qualities or our attractions or our binding. So slowly it will come. That is why he says so many births you have to take to reach that particular state. But that is the goal. If people are finding it is beyond our regular practice, please understand we are all reading Bhagavad Gita, which gives us peace of mind, calmness and all good qualities. At the same time, it is taking us towards that goal, whether we like it or not. We are all meeting regularly so that finally we reach that goal. Maybe in this birth, maybe 10 births to come. It all depends. As I said, we must keep doing our practices. That means we must be aware, we must have this attitude, and we must be aware of our purities. As I keep telling, anger, because anger is the biggest thing for me. Anger, I get angry, and angry doesn't mean always blowing, shouting at the top of our voice. No, even in the mind, if we start developing some kind of negative things towards somebody due to our past experience, that also is not permitted. Always we should keep forgiving. That is called as making our mind pure. So we should work on that. That is the yogic practice. We should work on a weakness. First we should understand, where am I going wrong? We should become very subtle, sukshma, observe ourselves, and then that only gives us this kind of peace, compassion. More and more we start enjoying. So he says, aneka janma samsiddha. So it takes several births to do that. But with every struggle, with every experiment, every effort, some development will be there. When you, for example, you are publishing papers, your papers, we all of us know that. We send paper for publication, it gets rejected. Never mind. Next time when we write, we are better than what we did. When I used to present my project to different funding agencies, I did almost 15 pitches. 15. Almost 15. So, if you see that, what I was when I did the first presentation and what I did today, there's a lot of difference. With every presentation, and 15 means different people, of course. So, with every presentation, there has been improvement. So, but that struggle has to continue. If you give up in between, then it's not going to, you're not going to reach anywhere. It will be accumulated though, but you're not going to reach anywhere. So, every effort, every failure, everything, we may rise, we may fall, again we will rise, but we will rise above that point where we had stopped. This is what Krishna is saying. It gets accumulated, but the whole idea is this Bhagavad Gita, this effort is self-improvement. That means the whole effort is, it's a very interesting journey, as long as we understand that we are here not to change the world, but to change ourselves. You may say that how much ever I do, that other person, he or she also needs Bhagavad Gita, not only I. That is a different story. We are not here to change the world. We are here to change ourselves. How do we adapt? How do we try to correct them? Correct means correcting. If you feel there is a mistake, we still tell them without getting disturbed. We keep doing, whether it changes or not, we keep putting our efforts and follow Karma Yoga. So that is the whole gist of this one. Next he says, tapasvibhyodhiko yogi jnanebhyopi matodhikaha karmibhyashchadhiko yogi tasmat yogi bhavarjuna. So very interesting shloka. Whatever we have done, yogi is superior to tapasvi. Just think about this. A yogi is superior to tapasvi. The tapasvi means those who practice asceticism, tapascharya, tapas, sit and hatha yoga. Somebody was saying hatha yoga. It's not. It's hatha yoga is different. Just practicing, some austerities, you can say. Hatha yogi is a yogi. Let's not talk about that. Yogi is superior to those who practice asceticism, tapasvi, tapascharya, and those who have obtained knowledge, jnanibhyopi matodhikaha. Yogi is superior to asceticism. Yogi is superior to jnani. Jnani means those who have obtained knowledge through scriptures. He is also superior to karmibhyascha, those who perform actions as prescribed in the scriptures also, otherwise also. Therefore, become yogi. A yogi is superior than any of these, a tapasvi, a jnani, and karmibhi. So just understand the inner meaning of this one. Tapasvi is a person who may do lot of tapascharya with a particular intention. You remember, people used to, even Arjuna, he did ghora tapasya. He did lot of tapas for Shiva and got the weapons when he wanted to fight, when he was in exile. Arjuna did that. Many people used to do tapascharya. Please Lord Shiva. Even the asked that. So that is not yogi. Tapascharya is different. Being yogi is different. So whether you are doing tapascharya or not, if you are not a yogi, so tapasvi vyo adhiko yogi. Yogi is superior to this person. That means these people have done some tapas, done some austerities, have disciplined their mind, they have got some willpower, but that doesn't qualify to become a yogi. Yogi is something different. What is it? We have discussed in the entire chapter and all these chapters. Then Jnani, a person may have read so many Vedas, he may have added, he knows the shlokas, he can reproduce the entire Bhagavad Gita, entire Veda, scriptures, everything. But is he a yogi? No. Until he practices, no. Yogi is different. Just Jnana is no. Jnana Yoga is different. If you become a yogi, you become a Jnana yogi. But just Jnana, you may get awards. Padma Shri, Padma Bhushana, Nobel Prize, everything. They are a kind of tapasvi, you can say. As I told last time also, no, getting a Nobel Prize is not an ordinary thing. But it doesn't qualify them to become a yogi unless they have that in mind. I am not condemning the noble practitioners. They have definitely have disciplined their mind. They have done lot of vairagya. They have put in lot of their effort. But that doesn't qualify to be a yogi. Karmi bhihi means rituals. Here two meanings we have to take from this. Karma is karmika means all this karma, good and bad. Good means Shraddha karma is called as inauspicious, and good karmas like yajnas and all that, no, homa, those are also called as karma only. So that, or doing our day-to-day activities. We may be doing very good dana. We would have built a good orphanage. We would have built a good hospital. We would have built a good stadium for this one, or education. So many things. Do we have the yogic perspective in mind? Do I practice yoga? Do I give karma phala tyaga? No, I still claim. Then you are not a yogi. That is not yoga. So that is a karma. You are doing some karma. You have attained some jnana. You have done some tapascharya. But that is not yoga. You be a yogi. Be a yogi and do whatever you want. Be a yogi and do whatever pleases you, whatever actions you like. Be an artist, be a painter, be a carpenter, be a doctor. Anything is okay, but be a yogi, it says. Because ultimate aim of Bhagavad Gita is to make us a yogi. So, if you are doing karma, you don't have time to do dhyana, you are doing actions throughout the day. Where is the time? I have a baby, I have my patients to attend, I have my students to teach, everything. Then become a karma yogi. I am sitting and reading so many texts. I have done my PhD. Do the karma phalatyaga and start exploring through that jnana. Start experiencing. Become a jnana yogi. Find out who are you, who am I. Become a jnana yogi. I am doing hatha yoga. As she said, I just want to stand on one leg, or breathing, or hold my breath. Hatha. Hatha means gaining mastery over your vital energies. Do that, but with the yogic perspective. Then you become a hatha yogi. So, or practice meditation throughout, be in the state of that meditation. Dhyana yoga, be that. So any of these you do, whatever actions you do, unless you have this attitude, you cannot become. And that is the purpose of human life, is to become a yogi. It is to become a yogi. Then what is that yogi then? Haven't we discussed definition of a yogi in the same chapter? If you remember, how did it start? He says in this chapter, previously also he has given different definitions, but in this chapter, yoga of meditation particularly, because this is taking us towards yoga, so here he has described atmopamyena. See, everyone like you, a yogi, sees himself in others, in happiness and in sorrow. That is one definition he has given for yukta or yogi. He keeps on describing, isn't it? Because after that only Arjuna asks him, you are describing so many things, how do I achieve that? Can my mind be stable? So all this he describes. So he says, atmaupamyena sarvatra samam pashyati. Arjuna is a yogi. Samam pashyati. He sees everywhere samatva. Then he says, sarvabhuta sthitam. He who sees me in all the living beings. He is a yogi, he says. And then he says in the 19th shloka, I will do that and then we can conclude for today's session. He says, Yathadipo nivatastho. He whose mind is just like the flame of that lamp in a closed room which doesn't get disturbed by the wind. That means his mind is so calm, never it gets perturbed, never it gets perturbed. That he says. And then he says free from desires, and then he says moderation everything, and disciplined mind, and brahmachari, solitude, samabuddhi, and he who wants to be within. So all these are definitions of a yogi. That means practice yoga in your day to day life, in your work, and in your interaction with your surroundings. Feel for my presence in every jiva, feel for my presence in every human being, consider others as you, have empathy, have compassion, practice this. And you have discipline energies means your body must listen, your mind should listen to you, your mind and body both should listen to you. Controlled desires, sankalpa, and so many things he has described in this chapter. Apart from that, in the previous chapters he has talked about yogaha karmasu kaushalam, esha brahmi sthiti partha. So he gives different definitions of yoga. So these are all these 6 chapters, from second chapter onwards, whatever he has told, if that is going to be practiced in principle, then we become yogis. Whatever knowledge we are getting now has to be implemented, and step by step. Overnight it's not going to happen. Just practice meditation and become aware of our mind, functioning of our mind, awareness of our thoughts as much as possible, and correction. I will just share one experience. So as I told in the Samadarshanaha, this is related to Samadarshanaha. So, considering everybody as equal, irrespective of the caste, creed, class, or anything, power, anything. So, or actually the highest form of Samadarshana is I and you are not different. That is the highest form of looking at everybody on the same platform. This being the case, I thought that employee-employer relationship. So I have a maid who does all the housekeeping work. She cleans, she does the dusting, everything. And one day I observed her. She cleaned ours is an independent house. She cleaned all the surrounding place, and I wanted her to clean and then put water and use the broomstick, and with that she had to clean properly, which she didn't do. She knew she had to do, but she didn't do. That irritated me, and I scolded her. Scolded means I told her, I observed her what she did, and she said, "Auntie, I have done." I said, "No, this is not the way to do. How many times I have to tell you?" I said, I did not use any bad words or abusive words, but my tone was not good. That tone was not good, and she got hurt. That girl was young girl. Actually, she was not supposed to come and work, but since it was only cleaning her mother had put, she's underage, 17 years, 17 or 15 years she is. But she's quite healthy, and she said, I can do anyway, I'm working at home, I will come and work here. But she got so offended. She became so sad that she went home and she cried, and she called her mom, and she said, I am very much affected, and I am not going to come to auntie's house for cleaning. I was wondering, see, I am paying her, she is my employee, and what is wrong in, even if I use this tone to tell her. But the very next minute I realized that, and it depends on everybody's threshold or sensitivity. The same thing, always for maids, many people we assert and we say, oh, you don't do like this in India, this should be done properly. I assumed that she didn't do the work properly, so I was authorized to scold her, to use that tone, so that she remembers this forever. This is what I thought. But when I sat quietly, and then I also felt very bad. I apologized to her, but she has still not forgiven me. You may not believe this. It has been 1 week and she has not come back. She's so deeply hurt. I was not very aggressive, but just little bit of tone. That is what I assume. For her, it must have been a very bad, she must have felt really deeply hurt. Maybe her mother wouldn't have scolded her in that tone. She wouldn't have scolded. So, I realized that I thought that I was trying to teach her, I was trying to correct her, or I was trying to correct her means next time she will not commit this mistake, not only in my house but everywhere. So I'm correcting her personality. Like that, so many thoughts came. Then I realized it was nothing but my ego. It was not truly that I wanted to correct her. It just that my employer status, it overpowered. And I used that tone and I felt very bad. Then after that, every time observing my mind, wherever my tone goes a little haywire, it does happen. It does happen, but it is a very, very tough game. It's a very tough game. Without our knowledge, even at home dealing with people, the tone suddenly goes, and without understanding, we feel we are no, this is a wrong thing they're doing. It's okay, even if they are doing a wrong thing, it should be told in a soft tone. You can be assertive being soft. You need not raise your voice, you need not raise your pitch, you need not change the tone of your words or the way you talk. You need not do that. So this is an exercise for us. I realized when I was going through these chapters, this exercise, this struggle is very, very tough, and we really have to work on that, and we really have to meditate on that, and we should keep practicing it and keep reminding ourselves this is the practice of yoga. So this I feel I felt very good. I felt, because even if you apologize, it's not going to make any change. If you have hurt somebody, that is over, and we feel that we are correcting. This is purely my thoughts, and it is applicable to me. You can apply in any way you want, but I'm just sharing how I'm working, because for me this is my biggest weakness. It's my biggest. Suddenly, my tone changes. I used to shout. I have reduced that, but still my tone suddenly changes. My children also observe. They keep telling me, and I'm working on that. It's not very easy, because that ego comes like big hood of that snake. They say how many hedi anta heltilla. It just comes up and then it will overpower everything. So we should be very careful, and yoga is nothing but this exercise of overcoming our weakness. This is my impurity. What is my impurity? Not able to look at everybody samadarshana. There is no samadarshana. That's why I use that word maid or neighbor or whatever. We are privileged to dominate or boss over, which is not the case. Bossiness is opposite of samadarshana. Never ever boss because of any reason. Correction is different, bossiness is different. You can assert, and always there should be, because when we are leaders, you can be leaders. Leadership is different. Bossism is different. Bossism is pakka egotism. 100% ego. Bossism is 100% taking control of people. That's very bad, and it comes very easily. The homemaker, as a when you start cooking, you get it. When you're mother, it comes. Mother, children is different. But when you get some responsibility, that power comes, like a tag, and that should not happen. That is yoga, taking responsibilities, doing the work, being in a leadership, but trying to correct with some other, trying to understand, being in their shoes, being soft yet assertive, not giving up what you want, not compromising the quality, not compromising, you should get the things done, but without bringing the tinge of ego in your words or in your actions. This is going to be a Herculean task, mind you. It's going to be a Herculean task. But if you observe and start working on that, I will tell you the satisfaction it gives you is much more than publishing in the highest PubMed indexed Q1, whatever you call it, journals or innovations or discoveries, and in fact even getting a Nobel Prize. That is, becoming a yogi is much more blissful, and that doesn't stop you from doing all this. We should do it, but our perspective should be different. So definitely, hard work and all which we do in our day-to-day practice is going to be handy in the practice of yoga. It should be there. But this is what, it's a very tough thing. But he says, become a yogi. So in the last shloka, yogi namapi sarvesham madgatenantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yuktatamo mataha. And among all the yogis, one with the innermost self merged in me. We practice all this and then we just sit and contemplate and go deep within. You have to practice for all this. That with faith, he who, among all the yogis, one who with innermost self merged in me, with faith devotes himself or herself to me. Shraddhavan bhajate yoma is considered by me as the highest yogi. Finished, period. He has put that a person of all these yogis, jnana yoga, karma yoga, everything he does, and then finally what he has to do, a Sreshta yogi, within, deep within, he has, with full devotion and faith, Shraddha, he believes in that. He believes every cell of his body, every nerve in his brain, every aspect of his mind is completely devoted to him with bhakti, devotion. That's a very pleasant state of mind. Then he becomes highest yogi, yukta tamomataha. He is considered by me as the highest yogi. You do everything and then surrender and then be situated and have faith that this is the path, ultimate path. He becomes the highest yogi. So Shraddha and Bhakti becomes, Shraddha should be there and Bhakti should be there. Ultimate, he has put it. Ultimate. All the yogas, they actually merge, they converge in that Bhakti. So he says this is what it is. And with that, we complete the chapter 6, Yoga of Meditation. Yoga of Meditation. Dhyana Yoga. He has called it as Dhyana Yoga. But dhyana is the core of all yogas. Dhyana is the one which will control your mind, which will guide the mind, and mind is the key for any path you take. Jnana marga, bhakti marga, karma marga, whatever. So that completes. Iti dhyana yogo nama shashto dhyayaha. So we complete chapter 6. Open for any discussions. I have taken little